lady Charmaine, and my guest today is a colorful character. Now, you may remember him as the lovable Huggy Bear in Starsky and Hutch, or one of the coolest brothers around with fish tank shoes and Keenan Ivory Wayans' I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, and one of my favorite all-time classic movies, Car Wash. You can also catch him in syndication on Everybody Hates Chris weeknights on a channel near you. And here to talk about his life after episode, I want you to help me welcome the legendary Antonio Fargas to the show. How you doing, Antonio?
I'm doing great. And that was a lovely intro that you made there, It's amazing that after, you stay on the planet for over 60-something years and you have 51 years in the business, that these opportunities come, like life after and all the other things that you mentioned.
Well, you said 60-something years. See, I like your birthday because, your birthday is the same day as my mom's and the day before mine. So you have a good birthday there.
Oh, you were Leos. And I think Magic Johnson and
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry and there's Clinton. I mean, there's a lot of good Leos out there. And I'm proud to be one of them.
That's good. Now, Antonio, you have one of the most recognizable faces in television. Does anybody ever tell you that?
It's amazing that 4 years on a TV show, particularly Starsky and Hutch, was syndicated over hundreds of countries in different languages and everything else, supersedes, the other 46 years that I've had in the business and doing theater and plays and all of that. But that's the power of the media and also the power of memory and the power, hopefully, I guess, of doing a good job that people remember it. And then, I guess, being that no one is better at being Antonio than Antonio. So they only made one of me, and I was just happy to represent.
And you represented real well, too, so that's good, because you were the lovable Huggy Bear. Now, you have a Life After episode that's going to be airing on Wednesday, November the 17th. Were you surprised when you got the call?
Humbled. I didn't get in this business as much as my agents would want to hear me say this. I didn't do this for money. I do this because it became a passion and a love. So the accolades and all of that sort of come, I guess, with time, and it's just nice to be recognized. I guess even before a journey's end, that that we can say thank you in a forum like Life After.
Now, when Life After came to you, what was in your mind? Did you think it meant for people whose careers were over, or did you know they just wanted to do a story on what you were doing now as well?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I know that, I don't have a lot of years left, so that's all. But also, I'm living in Las Vegas, sort of semi-retired, because I feel like in a lot of ways I want to just give back and acknowledge and be able to say thank you to people for the time that I've had on the stage, in center stage or half center stage or whatever. So it's sort of just all sort of worked together. That when I got the call saying Life After, but it's also the whole name of these episodes called Life After Huggy Bear, because Huggy Bear played such a foundational part in my career. As I said, even though it was only 4 years, but the power of television. So I have to pay homage to that, and also to know that all the other characters that I did, and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, and Doc, and Everybody Hates Chris, and everything in between, and Lindy, and Car Wash, and all those things, and Bernstein, and Next Up Greenwich Village, and the Professor, and Pretty Baby, all those characters I love equally, because that's how I feel. It's almost like having a child and saying, which child do you love more? Or, I love all my children, and I did all my children.
I'm about to say, you sure wasn't all my children.
Well, I've had just many opportunities, and I've just been blessed to realize that this has been a spiritual journey. I think that's the real payoff, because, if you get in this business because you just want fame and money, you may be disappointed. And I've been able to have it all, and that's wonderful.
Now, when you did Huggy Bear, was that always the original name of that character? How did that name come about on Starsky and Hutch?
Well, I heard in the documentary that William Blind, who who wrote the pilot, was riding in his car between San Francisco and L.A. or something, and there was a late night jock on by the name of Huggy Bear. And that name sort of stuck in his mind, and when he started, which I love writers, because they just resource everything, and that stuck to him. And when he put it on the page, I don't know if he had a skinny black actor in mind, but I sort of took the name and made it my own.
And that's a unique trait that you have, is taking those characters and making them so memorable where they are your own. Now, where did your love for acting come from? Because I know you started in the 1970s in what we call black exploitation movies. Where did your desire for acting come from? Well,
it actually started when I was 14 years old, and it was 1963 or 64. I was just getting ready to go into high school. And they were casting a film about gangs in New York. It was just a low budget feature, sort of like West Side Story. And my mom urged me to go down and try out. They were looking for actors, didn't have to have experience or anything, just a desire to be interested. And I went down. They liked the way I read the script and just gave myself. And I must say that when I found acting at 14, I found a family and a place where I could feel different and be comfortable, because I always felt a little bit different. But when I found a family that accepted my eccentricities and I could play all these roles and all of that, and it didn't start like automatically, but I got a small part in the film The Cool World. And it just kept growing and growing in me. And by the time I got out of high school, my parents had to go and pick up my diploma, because I was opening up in a play in Europe, in Vienna. Toured with Claudia McNeil in a play called Amen Corner. I bathed in the River Jordan when I was 18 years old, because I turned 18 in August 14th, 1960 something. I turned 18 in Jerusalem. Bathing in the River Jordan. So it's just such a long story, and that's why it's so hard to see your life encapsulated into a half-hour show. But at least it'll give people a taste of what I'm about.
Now, were you bathed in the River Jordan, Antonio, or did you get baptized in the River Jordan?
Well, no, I didn't get baptized. I just put my feet in there. I call it a bath. Everybody in the cast sort of took their shoes off and went in the water a little bit, and that was good enough for me.
Okay. Well, if you're just tuning in, we are talking to Mr. Antonio Fargas. You know him from the movie Car Wash, Starsky and Hutch as Huggy Bear, and also Everybody Hates Chris as Doc. Now, I have a question for you, Antonio. One of my favorite, most memorable scenes is in I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, when you got out of prison and you thought you was clean. Sharp as a tack. Fish tank shoes on.
You really have to take chances when you're doing a character like that.
Yes.
You really have to believe it, and so it gave a lot of pathos to the scene to see that this guy thought he was the bomb.
Yes.
And and he was like a dinosaur coming from another place.
How was it running in those shoes, though, Antonio? When you have
I had to create a walk because it was so delicate, so it made me walk with a deliberate kind of cadence, and I just loved character. Put me in some clothes and put me with a big old hat and a yellow outfit, and that's all I needed. That's part of an actor's tools is what he wears, and and me in life, I love clothes. I love trying to the feeling that you get when you put on your stuff, or you go on stage, or you sit in the makeup chair, you get ready to do your acting, and you just create illusions and memories for people through bearing our souls, and that character certainly bared his soul there, which made it really special.
It did. That is one of my favorite scenes. And when they said you were coming on the show, of course, I'm like the fish tank shoes. That's the one thing I will always remember about you. You are such A versatile actor, you were even in soap operas, All My Children, and you played Angie's father. How different is it from movies, television, and soap operas? Is there any difference?
Oh, yeah, there's a big difference. There's a big difference between movies, television, and theater. All using the same actor, but it's a different technique. And I felt a real uncomfortable when I first started with the soap opera because I didn't have that technique down. I saw how easy, that Darnell Williams and Susan Lucci and played my daughter.
Angie.
But everybody did, everybody just sort of like eased into their roles, and they were so confident. So it took a while for me to get it, but I enjoyed that experience on All My Children very much, and I like, as I said, I like theater. It's another kind of deal when you can't stop, and there's an immediacy that happens when you have to do it. You can't do take one and take two. So each one is special, but the soap operas gave me another great respect for the actors who do that well.
Yeah, Debbie Morgan played your daughter. That's her name with the dimples.
Debbie.
Debbie Morgan played your daughter. You were also a regular in Everybody Hates Chris. You played Doc. Did you get a chance to work with Chris Rock on the show?
He came on the set because he just did the voice. So and I think he directed maybe an episode or so, but he just did the voice. But he had a lot of hands-on experience with taking care of his baby, which was Everybody Hates Chris, because it was about fictionalizing of his life in Brooklyn and all that. And he's a special guy. He's one of the guys who, in this business, who knew whose shoulders he stands on. And so Will Smith, Martin, all those guys gave me jobs on their shows because they respected what I did for them. And I had a lot of respect for Chris Rock. In fact, I thought Chris Rock, even though Snoop Dogg did a great job in the Starsky and Hutch movie, I thought Chris Rock would have made a great Huggy Bear.
Okay. Now, you have a song about you, very special. Antonio Vargas' Huggy Bear. Came out, I guess, in the 90s. Have you heard the song?
Probably. Did I do it?
No, it was like a Latin group that did a song.
Oh, yeah. There's a Latin group called Huggy Bear. People, the world is getting so small that, you affect the lives of people in France, in Latin America, in Japan. Everywhere I go, everybody sort of has a take on Elvis. They have a take on all the things that they think are totally American and that they enjoyed. And Starsky and Hutch and Huggy Bear and the car and all that stuff did a lot for people growing up, giving them, that I can do it too kind of deal. So I'm not surprised that their band. In fact, I knew of another musician who did an ode to Huggy Bear on a jazz tune as well.
Now, you were on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, the British version.
Oh, yeah.
How did you enjoy that?
It was an experience. All the people were betting in England that I would be one of the winners, maybe the winner, because that's how much they enjoyed Huggy Bear. And when I went on the show, what I did, I wanted them to see Antonio Fargas, and they weren't interested in Antonio Fargas. They were interested in the character Huggy Bear and how Huggy Bear survived in the jungle. So I didn't win it, but also in terms of British television and how much they love Starsky and Hutch, they have like the 100 best actors in British television history, and Huggy Bear was like number 30 something.
Wow.
And that's big. That's big.
Did you even feel that character would just, live, 30 years later, people still talking about Huggy Bear, would really take on a life of its own where you would even be number 37 in the 100 best actors in Britain?
Well, that's, again, all that stuff is very, very humbling. When I went to doing a show in England, I had to take a taxi to the theater every day. And inevitably, almost every one of the taxi drivers in this small town in England said, "You don't have to pay me, Antonio. I just want to thank you for what you did for me growing up, watching Starsky and Hutch and all that." Those are the kind of things that make you feel, worthwhile, make you feel it's an affirmation for the time and the sweat and the tears and everything you needed to do this deal that I love.
Now, you have a passion for plays. You were also in a play called Calling All Saints. It was a gospel stage play, and it was about the threat to marriage and family. Can you kind of tell us about that play and where did the theme come from?
The theme came from the author. I'm just a soldier who goes out there. They wanted to get the best actor they could to help support that project. And when you're talking about particularly young people and theater, and black theater is it's very important to me. Like the black church and black theater are preservers of our history. So anytime I get an opportunity to work with an organization or I also did one called Sister Sadie's Sonia's prayer song or something like that, was another sort of spiritual type of movie that I did. And right now, on December 18th, here in Las Vegas, I'm doing a play at a church, Christmas singing play, and so theater and characters that convey an uplifting kind of theme. Even if it's one of the playing the tough characters or not the hero, but somebody's got to do, like I said, that dirty work and do the characters that make people to get the message that a way of life may not be the best for them.
Mm. Now, Antonio, you really have a passion and a commitment to theater. You're also on the board of the Rhode Island Langston Hughes Center for the Arts, Martin Luther King Center of Newport, and others. Why is theater so important to you?
Well, it's the well where it all started. But again, black theater is very important to me because it preserves our history. It tells us about what we're doing, not only in passing along our culture, our spirit in terms of the church, and our spirit in terms of the evolving neighborhoods where we congregate, the evolving sections of the country where we congregate. That's why they had a Chitlin Circuit Theater, that Chitlin Circuit musical theater, musical clubs and stuff where artists would go and get straight to our people. And so I'm proud to be part of that. I'm proud to represent our history in terms of that, and to also to preserve it through support of black theater and support of theater in general.
Now, you have a son, Antonio, and he plays for the NFL. He's a running back. When I read that, I said, wow. I know you are so proud of him, and I guess he didn't want to follow in his dad's footsteps. Yeah. Is he still playing?
No. He retired last year, and he has made me so proud, not only what he did on the field, but also the fact that he's turning out to be a good, solid citizen, a good young man, and has a love in his life, and they're expecting to give me a grandbaby, and he's gone back to school and back to USC, and is getting his degree and moving on with his life. And I'm such a big supporter of people taking the initiative, and he was burdened a lot by the fact that he was called Huggy's son and Huggy Bear Jr. and all this other stuff. But he took that and he ran with it, and now it's about Justin Fargas, and I'm very proud of him.
Well, what's next for you, Antonio? Do you have anything else on the horizons, a show or play?
I don't know. You got something for me?
Who knows? Let me pray about that.
I could be a co-host. I don't care. No, I'm doing this play, and then I have surprises. But I left the scene, so to speak, so I could let the game come to me and relax and pick the people I want to work with, and also allow me to be able to support people's dreams and not just be concerned about my own. My legacy is sort of set, and I just want to continue by helping others and especially in the creative way of life, and to to teach them how they can survive in a hostile land if they're disciplined.
Very good. Well, Antonio, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I want to make sure everyone watches Wednesday night. TV One's Life After with Antonio Fargas is going to be Wednesday, November the 16th on the TV One network. Check your local listings for time. And again, Antonio, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
You know what? Also, I just want to say that I'll be online after the show. So if you go online, we'll have about an hour of chatting about the show after it airs.
And where are you going to be online?
On
TV One?
From my office on TV. Yeah.
Okay, on TV One. Oh, I guess go to TV1.com.
TV1.com. Yeah.
Okay, where everybody can go and chat with you live online. Are you going to be twitting as well? I said tweeting.
No, I'm not a Facebook tweeter kind of guy. I think people who know me or need to reach me, they get my email address, they got my phone number, and that's enough for me.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So we want to make sure that everyone is online with you on Wednesday, November the 16th, live online at TV1.com. Again, thank you so much, Antonio, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Lady Charmaine. Have a wonderful one.